Hello YouTube, Video Game House here, and I want to start with my apologies on the lighting. I have since changed out my streaming room, and my lighting system was broken in the process. So I'm getting a new one relatively soon, but for right now, my biggest apologies for the weird lighting of the stream as of this moment. But I wanted to bring up a deck that is very underrated, but has so much potential from Perfect Order, and that is Mega Clefable. Now, these cards are in Japanese because the proxy maker that we use, unfortunately, doesn't have the English versions of the cards downloaded just yet, but I can basically explain what they're supposed to do. Now, in Perfect Order, we have the new Clefairy that was just printed, 70 HP, so it is Buddy-Buddy Poffinable. It has a 1 energy move that is just boss's orders, so you can easily use it as a 1 psychic, boss your opponent up. That way you can try and stall your opponent a little bit while you still continue your setup. Usually your turn 1 obviously is your setup. Phase turn 2 is when you start hitting your opponent for a lot of damage. It has a 2 energy move for 30 damage. Very rarely are you ever going to use that, but it's good to keep it in mind in case of a Badoo lock. You're still able to get around it by using the 2 energy attack. Our Mega Clefable is so unappreciated because unfortunately its attack is 2 psychic energies and it only does 120 damage, but you can discard up to 4 psychic energy in your hand. And it does say psychic energy cards. That includes telepathic energy, which you see at the end there. There's 4 of those in this deck. You can use that as a discard as well to also be able to hit an extra 40 damage per energy you discarded this way. So it is a 2 energy 280. Very powerful move. It also has the ability that is not affected by the effects of your opponent's Pokemon. So if your opponent tries to use Dusclops or Dusknoir to do damage to it, it actually will fizzle the attack. So, or the ability, sorry. So it's actually very strong in that sense. So it's a little harder for your opponent to take it out with what's going to be most likely one of the best decks in the format, Dragon. The one of Clefable is from an earlier set, but it has a 2 energy move Metronome that says choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack. Since we're going to be running Clefairy and Clefable that uses 2 energies regardless, you can get 2 energies on a Clefairy, evolve it into this Clefable. There are attacks you can use that end up being stronger if you use them under the single prize Clefable that can still take knockouts in case you don't have to use the Mega Clefable, so you don't have to waste the 3 prizer and instead use a 1 prizer in order to deal with a lot of things. Spritzee has a 1 energy heal 30 or 1 energy 10 damage. Not effective really at all, but we do run Aromatisse, whose ability is that on your turn, once during your turn, you can search your deck up for 2 psychic energies, add them to your hand. Which is how we fuel the Mega Clefable's attack. 2 Aromatisse, 4 energies from deck, straight to hand. Mega Clefable's attack, dumpster all 4, you hit up to 280 damage very, very easily. We run 2 Lillie's Clefairy EXs. Now, I do put this into perspective that this deck is going to be very, very strong. I do believe as soon as a couple, like a regional hits, a couple of online tournaments get ran, Dragapult is going to be the #1 deck. Running Clefairy is very, very strong, obviously, into that matchup. It makes our Mega Clefable, do boatloads of damage, one-shotting. It allows Clefable to use Metronome to take Dragapult's attack and hit for 400. It allows even our normal Lillie's Clefairy to just deal damage equal to knockouts that just give you an advantage in that matchup. We do run Shaymin because our turn 1 is really awkward, and Zygarde is a thing now, along with Wellspring Mask, Ogerpon, and even Greninja. All of those guys do hit the bench, which severely puts you in a bad case if you can't deal with it. Latias is an incredible card because it has the ability to take all your basic Pokemon and freely retreat them, but it also is a Psychic Pokemon with a 3 energy Psychic 200 damage. In this deck, you are able to 1, have your Pokemon switch around, which is really good for turn 1, for free. 2, still equip with Telepathic Energy and use the ability of Telepathic Energy to get more Psychic Pokemon. And 3, still be able to attack with it in the worst case scenario. And we do run, of course, the #1 going to be most used card in the entire game, Meowth. Meowth EX, just the ability of Luminion of the past, where it allows you to, when you play it from your hand onto your bench, you search your deck for a supporter and add it to your hand. This card opens up so many loops that every deck has to run it, and it's just annoying because it's just a 2 prize liability. People who know me understand I hate the surprise liabilities, and if I could play without them, I would. But we can go on further to Lillie's Determination, Boss's Orders, Hilda, Jacinth, I believe is what her name is. And I will explain the Jacinth because it's a newer card from Perfect Order that some people may not know, but it heals one of your Psychic Pokemon for 150 HP. Having it as a one-of is one of those instances where it's better to have it and not need it rather than to not have it, and because you don't have it, cost yourself a game, because 150 is a solid amount, especially in matchups where, you know, if a Dragapult hits you, you take 200, you're not getting knocked out, and Clefable is protected from Dusknoir, so you're able to use that Jacinth, and then suddenly you're not within, you know, one-shotting range. I've found with this deck, there is a lot of decks out there right now that really can't one-shot it too easily. Since the rotation of Goldango, there's no super effective Steel-type deck that's going to be top meta as of this time, so a lot of your deck is all weak to Steel, and you're not really dealing with the Steel weakness. We also do run the one-of Petrol. Now, the one-of Petrol is a good option because it gives you the option to search for Mystery Garden, so that way you can discard a Psychic Energy and draw up to 6 because your entire deck is all Psychic Pokemon. Sub the Shaymin and the Meowth, and you'll usually only have like one or the other on the board. Never really both, of course. You can also find Unfair Stamp out of it, your Wonder Patches, Buddy-Buddy Poffins on turn 1. These are all things you can do with the Petrol, so it's just a solid card to have as a one-of no matter what you use. It's also one of those things where you can go Meowth into Petrol into Unfair Stamp to reset your hand and harm your opponent. So, very useful card. We wanted to get a good setup turn 1, so we run triple Buddy-Buddy Poffin, triple Poké Pad, and 4 Telepathic Energy. Literally getting any one of those can set you up for the remainder of the game because every other card in your deck helps you just reshuffle your hand or find what you're looking for. Buddy-Buddy Poffin obviously finds you your Spritzees and your Clefairies. Telepathic Energy can find you your Latias, your Clefairy, Spritzee, Clefairy, of course. I guess I say Clefairy twice, but I mean Lillie's Clefairy and regular Clefairy. Poké Pad helps you find Aromatisse and Clefable, not Mega Clefable, but regular Clefable if needed, but it does help you find that Aromatisse, which we don't really have a lot of searches for outside of Poké Pad and 2 Ultra Balls, so we do have a couple of options. Energy Recycler allows you to get up to 5 Psychic Energies from your 5 Basic Energies from your discard pile and put them back into your deck, which you then use it to Aromatisse to get 4 of those back out, and Clefable can attack again for maximum damage. Night Stretcher, Ultra Ball, Wonder Patch, Unfair Stamp, Handheld Fan, Mystery Garden, and the Psychic Energies I do not think that I need to explain. There are a couple of niche cards that we did after testing find out would be a good include, such as cards like Smoochum, which is a 0 energy attached to Psychic Energy to one of your Pokemon on your bench. Since you're not going to be using Badoo, it still is a Psychic Pokemon. Mystery Garden is still solid, and we can still run things like Gravity Mountain, minusing a 2-prizer, or a stage 2 Pokemon's HP by 30. Helps because we only hit 280, so it gets us to 310 overall in a way. Black Belt's Training to go to plus 40, which is kind of like getting rid of another Psychic Energy, but allows Clefable's attack to hit for 320. Another card we added, or can use, is the Team Rocket's Mimikyu, which again is just another, I can use an opponent's Pokemon's Terra move, so we can use it to use as a Dragapult. Still 2 energy, free retreater, so it still works. And another stadium you can use is a Battle Cage, adding an air balloon into the deck instead of a handheld fan to try and like mitigate your opponent you pulling your Aromatisse up, and then you can't use Latias to pull it back, and saving your energies for other Pokemon. So there are a few things that I definitely see that this deck can do to improve on, but I absolutely believe that it has so much potential in the upcoming format because Dragapult is going to be the #1 deck in the format, and this thing will always have a positive win rate into this. Literally, Clefable 2 energy plus 1 discard is 160. You got Lillie's Clefairy on the board, you're hitting 320. Oh, Dragapult get knocked out, and then they cannot shoot you back because you protect yourself from Dusknoir from its own ability, and you protect yourself because 320 HP, they can't one-shot you. It's just simple math that allows you to just get free wins on Dragapult. You have like a 90-10 into Dragapult. I know I yapped for a bit, but it is a lot of new cards, so I did want to go over everything in depth. I hope you guys enjoyed that, or if you just skip straight to the gameplay, let's get to it. Now, These are streamed games. We stream these on Tuesdays and Thursdays for our stream content over on twitch.tv/videogamehouse. And we try and run these with the chat, with viewers, while we update the deck while we play it. So a few cards in here may be different from what you guys see later because of the changes that we made. This actually was one of the earlier instances of us not running the Buddy-Buddy Poffins, and it led us to want to play the Buddy-Buddy Poffins because of the fact that we can't really get all of our pieces on turn one unless we run, unless we hit a telepathic energy. That's our only way to kind of like set up early, and if we don't get one of those, and there's no real way to search it outside of specifically the 2 Hildas in the entirety of the deck, it's just not going to work. So we added the Buddy-Buddy Poffin in to give us another option to find 2 70 HP Pokemon, because the telepathic energy on turn 1 usually is going to be used to search out Spritzee and Clefairy so you can set up for future turns. Or telepathic energy can give you a Latias or Lillie's Clefairy in order to set yourself up for future turns as well. But that's why telepathic energy is going to be just a better Buddy-Buddy Poffin. But if you don't get it, at least you have 4 telepathic and 3 Buddy-Buddies in order to help you get that turn 1 setup that you need with the deck. Obviously, you can see my whole board is already set up. And like, we already have another Clefable, Mega Clefable, and Aromatisse already in hand, along with Lilies and Mystery Garden. Like, we have just so many options here. We already have an energy on the Mega Clefable, so that's kind of a boost on that front. We obviously don't need Clefable here because there's not really too much that I want to use in terms of my opponent's attacks, so we just got so much value going on over here. Our turn 1, we're looking at Jellicent, unfortunately, so we won't be able to use tools and items, which is, fine. It just kind of sucks because obviously I can't use Unfair Stamp or Energy Recycler, and we're just going to have to push damage. Now, the more you play the deck, the more you realize what you can and can't do. So obviously, since I'm up against Jellicent, I could never hit for knockout. My max damage is 280, and I only had 3 energies in hand, so I was never going to hit for knockout there, and I couldn't find another energy. So, instead of wasting my energies, I have double Aromatisse. If my opponent wants to use a Judge or any of the new, like, reset cards, let's say, it just doesn't work, because I can just get 4 energies back immediately. Funny joke, my opponent realizes that Dusknoir does not work on Mega Clefable right there, which is, just because it's a new card, Luminous Wings. Insane ability to just prevent the effects of other Pokemon, so you just don't take damage. So we ended up drawing energy, and we obviously have a setup play already, and we can just clear out all the energies in our deck. It doesn't matter whether we use them or not. If they're not in the deck, I don't have to draw them. Other cards that we use, explaining the Hilda right here. Sorry, usually I'm on the other side over there, so I'm used to... Yeah. But Hilda can go get us a telepathic energy and an evolution Pokemon like Aromatisse. Or Mega Clefable, of course. But we can use it to get telepathic energy, which, since it can't be brought back from the discard pile, we want to use those anyway, so that way we can still use the Energy Recycler to go get our energies back, because we can't target the telepath energy. The telepath energy is the one we want to use to attack with. So, as you saw there, my opponent used Judge. Oh no, my energies are somewhere in the deck. Well, I don't care where they are. They're all coming back to my hand regardless. We have an option to remove a Latias, and we're just going to abuse it because knockout equal game. Don't you just love it when your opponent uses Judge, and you don't have to worry about counter catcher showing up? You don't got to worry about Iono, even if you're winning and you're down to 1 prize card. You got to worry about Iono. Like, the worst hand disruption in the game is an Unfair Stamp. A lot of people are going to be running Genesect Ace Nullifier. I'm sure of that. Specifically just for that reason. But as you saw there, the deck just works. Dusknoir doesn't work on it. We don't have to worry about, being ahead of our opponent and getting counterplayed. We just go in and just keep going in until they stop. Now, this was a very unique list. I kind of didn't think I was going to see Wellspring, like, spread damage this early, but it definitely adds on the whole, this is why you run Shaymin in the deck. We luckily opened our Pal Pad, which allows us to find Shaymin, but we are also able to use Petrol, find Buddy-Buddy, use Telepath, so we can get Buddy-Buddy into a Psychic Pokemon, Telepath on the Psychic Pokemon, and that way we can get more Pokemon for free retreat, and our Poké Pad that shows up helps us find our Shaymin. This is like a perfect turn 1 play to seeing our opponent's board state and going, well, Wellspring could destroy 2 Pokemon. But if I do this, they won't destroy 2 Pokemon. Very useful. We expected our Spritzee to explode here, so we just kind of like let it. Like we were expecting Wellspring Mask Ogerpon to hit for the Torrential anyway, just to go for the Spritzee knockout, or whether he goes into Fan Rotom or if he went into one of Eevee's evolutions and still use the crown for an attack. We were just expecting Spritzee to not make it out of this turn, and we weren't worried about it. Noctowl, obviously, with Wellspring Mask Ogerpon, still goated as hell in order to just get a Crespin to set yourself up, and you can get Crown. He energized, retreated, so that way he can go get Fan Rotom with the 1 energy he had left to take a knockout. Because why use Wellspring when you can't hit for maximum damage? Unfortunately for my opponent, they realized very quickly, oh, well, now what? So, like I said, we don't really want to attach the basic energies to our Pokemon. We'd rather, attach the evolution Pokemon or the special energies, because you can't search them out of your deck with Aromatisse, whereas this one you can. So with this amazing turn, we were able to just collect everything we needed. We got the Aromatisse from the Poké Pad, and the Hilda got us our Mega Clefable, and our Mega Clefable is running our little bit of a tech tool, the Handheld Fan. Also, we hit them with the Unfair Stamp, which is so devastating to a deck like this when they don't have the Noctowl in hand or a way to get it, and it just stopped my opponent from playing the game. It was a wonderful feeling, to be honest. I think that this deck does need to have something, at least one Black Belt's training, or some version of a booster to get to that magical 320 damage that we want to hit. But it's still awkward. This deck, my opponent's deck, I do find this fun. They are running the Tyrantrum deck, and I liked the Tyrantrum deck during pre-release because I thought it was funny that if you have a special energy, suddenly you're just 330 HP with an attack that has a % chance to mill. And in TCG Live, where the coin flipper is, I guarantee you, broken, you could accidentally just flip 37 heads. Like, that's just a thing that can happen, and it would be really funny. Honestly, I challenge you guys to build a Tyrantrum deck and then join my Discord and show it to me. Just figure out how to make it work. Do it. Show me how you can make that work, because that's insanely fun. My opponent, I was able to use Hilda here, got an evolution, got all the switch pieces, got a free retreat. Now I can use Lillie's Clefairy to go deal with my opponent here. I think I did make a misplay in this one where I actually played that Clefable down, and my opponent did bosses it up without me thinking, because I didn't need to play the Clefable, but I did because I didn't want it in the deck, or I didn't want it in my hand or something. And if you guys were paying attention, this was 2 games in a row, by the way. My first prize that I took was Meowth. Both games. So, no free bosses orders for me. Hazel is kind of a funny card too. If you're playing a single prize list, Hazel is your go-to. But my opponent punches me in the face for 70, and then now I just trying to figure out how Jaw Fossil works. So now he's got, the Solrock, the energy's still on the board for, I guess, retreating with Luminatone, but it's now not as necessary for me to deal with. I didn't want to put down more, like, pieces. Like, I didn't want to put down another Clefairy, because I already have Lillie's Clefairy and a Mega Clefable. So I'm like debating in my head. I'm like, can I use the Meowth for anything that would be good? And I figure, okay, if you can take a knockout on Clefairy, we can just use Meowth the next turn for a boss's orders to take our opponent's Fez and take that out. But I voted last second. I was just like, you know what? No. Clefairy, because then if he takes out the Lillie's Clefairy and the Mega Clefable, I'll still have 1 prize left. So another Mega Clefable could be a play that we can make. Look at that. Tyrantrum, 330 HP, Neo Upper Energy for 160, and then he flips a coin until he gets tails and mills cards, and he hit my fucking Aromatisse on 1. Funny joke, though. Move the energy away, Tyrantrum only has 180 HP now, so it's just kind of funny for me. Give him a special energy so I keep the regular energies in hand, and I just kind of debate on what I want to add to the bench, and I think I just ended up going with nothing because I was just looking at my placements. No, I did go with another Clefairy. Oh yeah, that's my misplay. not needed Clefable because I'm never going to take my opponent's attack. Like, the best thing I could have done was taken, like, Fez attack and shot the Tyrant on the bench. Maybe if I wanted to with that Clefable, it just was never going to be worth it. So with a sweet boss, we take out another one, taking 2 more prize cards. Fez is down. My opponent, I don't know what they have in their hand. I was kind of hoping I found Unfair Stamp or Judge due to the fact they have 10 cards in hand and already have another Tyrantrum up the board. So it's more or less, do they have the special energy they need in order to make it 330? Which I obviously informed before, cannot hit. And then this is where I made my mistake. I don't run Air Balloon, I don't run Kieran, I don't run Switch. So Clefable is just trapped in the active here. Kind of sucks, but it's just kind of what we had to do. It's just a misplay that I made. And I learned from my mistake, and obviously don't make the same mistake, that Clefable is not a basic, and you don't have Air Balloon. If you don't have Air Balloon, a Switch, or Kieran, or something to switch it out, just play it safe, you know? No Surfer in the deck either. There's plenty of options to get to that point, but our opponent still needs 4 prize cards to win the game, so it does get a little dicey, because if he takes out Clefable, and he takes out Mega Clefable, then he could get the win, which no one wants. No one wants that. No one wants that at all. So we're just trying to cycle through our deck to try and find something we can do. We set up Mega Clefable expecting our opponent to try and, like, boss up Mega Clefable and take a shot at it, so that way he'd have, like, half damage on it. But if he just deals with the Clefable for me, I don't have to worry about it, you know? And luckily, that was it. So we did put up the Mega Clefable here, because if I needed to retreat this Mega Clefable, a basic energy would go into the discard pile, which I can get back. And that Poké Pad was just to search the deck for, you know, what do I have left, you know? And we did find Unfair Stamp. We still have Aromatisse, so since we can take a one-shot knockout, it doesn't really matter, but harming my opponent's hand state there is just deliberately good. The other Aromatisse is either in discard pile or prized, I forgot, but we were running a 3/3 copy at that point, so. Yeah, we just do the 200 because as of this point, if you look at his HP, it's 180 plus 150. If we get that special energy off that Pokemon, it gets knocked out. My opponent jumped in, took the attack, I moved the special energy, it got knocked out, and then whatever Pokemon comes in, we have to just hit it really hard. We obviously can't leave the Mega Clefable on the board at this point, because if we do, and my opponent hits the 160, I can move the damage counter off, or I can move the special energy off, but I wasn't sure, and I wasn't going to chance it, whether or not I would still win the match. Because he does the damage, but the effect of my Handheld Fan goes off, moving the special energy, and then taking a knockout. I don't know if they would get knocked out at the same time because he loses the special energy, or if his would get knocked out first because Handheld Fan has to resolve, then damage calculation resolves. So I just didn't take the chance. Just went with the Meowth boss's orders into Soul Rock because we had the energy to do the damage to take a knockout. I don't know how many times you guys are going to see that, but Meowth boss's orders is going to be winning so many games that you could put it on a bingo card during Worlds, and you're gonna... honestly, center bingo card, Meowth boss's orders for game, guarantee you is a free spot. Just saying, if you want to play bingo. Mega Clefable EX is an underrated deck, but it is very, very strong. You can still put that together with things like Jellicent, because you can use telepathic energy on Frillish to get Latias out for free, and then switch in the Frillish, and then bam, you have a Frillish attacking for, you know, item lock on turn 1 if you need it. You can put Jellicent in there as well, obviously, not as, you know, a big attacker, but as a big stall card, so you can get everything else on the board, and then once you have everything else on the board, you can just start bringing up the damage, hitting for 280 every single turn. It's so versatile, and it has so much you can do with it just to make it stronger. If you guys have any good cards you want to add to that deck list, let me know. Join my Discord. It's going to be in the description over there. Join the Discord and let me know what you guys think. I'm going to be coming out with a couple other videos this week as well, so I do hope you guys take a look at them and let me know what you guys think of Perfect Order. It is going to be so much fun for so long now.